guys, so today I have swatches of the OPI New Orleans collection for spring/summer 2016. There are 12 polishes in this collection. I got these from btysales.com, same place that I got the Hello Kitty collection. They are not on the website yet. I did pay for these, just so you guys know, but they're not on the website yet. I don't know when she's planning on listing them. Probably soon if she has them, but as far as of right now, as of me filming this video, they're not on the website. But I will link it down below. Yeah, 12 polishes in this collection, and I'll get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Take a Right on Bourbon, and this is a frosty, kind of like walking the line between a silver and a gold metallic. So here's one coat. And this one is pretty sheer on the first coat, and it does show a lot of brush strokes when it's wet. Formula is good though, no issues there. It doesn't want to run anywhere. It really stays where you put it on the nail. So here's two coats. This one is starting to build up, but it's still a little bit sheer. I can still see my nail line, so I'm going to do a third. A good number of those brush strokes did disappear as it dries, but there are still a few there. So here's three coats. This one covers completely in three. If you don't want those brush strokes that do remain after it dries, you can sponge on that last coat and it'll take care of those. So there is three coats of Take a Right on Bourbon. The next polish is Let Me Buy You a Drink, and this is a light pink. It is showing up a little bit washed out on camera. It's a bit more pink in person. And this has a very fine, kind of pinkish, at least it looks like that to me, shimmer running throughout it. So here's one coat. This one is a bit sheer on the first coat. The formula is a little bit thin. It's not terrible. I do feel like if you did too thick of a coat, it would run down the sides of your nail, but not very easily. It's like right on the edge. So here's two coats. This one is still a bit streaky on the second coat, so I'm going to do a third. The shimmer does stand out really nicely in this one though, and it's not the kind of shimmer that leaves brush strokes. So here's three coats. This one covers for the most part in three coats. I can still see my nail line a little bit, but it's just barely noticeable. And this one does dry a tiny bit dull, so you will want a top coat as well. So there is three coats of Let Me Buy You a Drink. And the next polish is Humidi-Tea, and this is a kind of peachy nude. This has the same shimmer in it that Let Me Buy You a Drink had. So here's one coat. This one is a bit sheer on the first coat. Good formula though. No issues there, not too thick or too thin. So here's two coats. I can still see my nail line a little bit in this one after two coats, so I'm going to do three. The shimmer in this one doesn't really leave brush strokes, which is good. So here's three coats. And this one covers completely in three. This, like the last one, also dries a little bit dull, so you will want a top coat. So there is three coats of Humidi-Tea. The next polish is Crawfishin For A Compliment, and this is a peach cream. Here it is next to Is My Tie Crooked from the Hawaii collection. It's a little bit lighter than that one. So here's one coat. This one is a little bit streaky on the first coat. Formula is a little bit thin for me. I tend to prefer thicker formulas, but it's still easy to use. So here's two coats. So this one is still a little bit streaky on two, so it is going to need three. You might be able to get away with two depending on your application though. So here's three coats. And this one covers completely in three. And again, you might only need two. It depends on how you apply it because it is very close to being a two-coater. So there is three coats of Crawfishin For A Compliment. So the next polish is called Suzi Nails New Orleans, and this is a medium pink. So here is one coat. This one is a bit streaky on the first coat. Great formula on this one though. Not too thick or too thin. So here's two coats. This one is still a bit streaky on the second coat, so I'm going to do a third. Great formula on this one though. So here's three coats. And this one covers completely in three. It dries pretty shiny as well. So there is three coats of Suzi Nails New Orleans. So the next polish is called Got Myself Into a Jambalaya, and this is kind of like a coral, pinky coral cream. Here it is next to Sorry I'm Fizzy Today from the Coca-Cola collection. You can see it's a little bit lighter, but kind of in the same color family. So here's one coat. This one is a little bit sheer on the first coat. Formula is a little bit on the thin side, still easy to use though. So here's two coats. I do still have some streaks on this one in two, so I'm going to do three. This is another one that's right on the line between 2 and 3 though, so you might end up only needing 2. So here's 3 coats. This one covers completely in 3. I do think you might be able to get it opaque in 2 though. So there is 3 coats of Got Myself Into a Jambalaya. And the next polish is called Show Us Your Tips, and this is a periwinkle blue with a silver shimmer. At first glance, I thought this looked a lot like You're Such a Budapest, but this one is much lighter and much more on the purple lavender side, and also turning my camera yellow. Here's one coat. This one is pretty sheer on the first coat. There's a good amount of shimmer though. Formula is definitely thinner. It feels like it would for sure run down the sides of your nail if you do too thick of a coat. So here's 2 coats. This one actually builds up really nicely on that second coat. It's still a touch too sheer for me, but I'm surprised at how much that second coat added to the color. And again, the shimmer stands out really, really nicely on this one. So here's 3 coats. This one covers completely in 3. It actually dries pretty shiny. Obviously, I would recommend a top coat, but it does dry pretty shiny. So there is 3 coats of Show Us Your Tips. The next polish is called I'm So Swamped, and this is a kind of medium yellow-green cream. So here is one coat. This one is very opaque on the first coat. It's not a one coater, it's just a little bit streaky, but it is very close. Perfect formula on this one too. So here's 2 coats. This one covers completely in 2. This one dries very shiny as well. So there is 2 coats of I'm So Swamped. So the next polish is called Rich Girls and Po' Boys, and this is a kind of medium blue cream. So here's one coat. This one also covers really well on the first coat. Again, just a little bit streaky, so it is going to need a second. Fantastic formula though. Not too thick, not too thin. So here's 2 coats. This one does dry, I feel like a little bit darker than it applies when it's wet, but 2 coats does cover completely, and it does dry really shiny as well. So there is 2 coats of Rich Girls and Po' Boys. The next polish is called She's a Bad Mufuletta, and this is a, I don't know, it's red and it's pink. It's like a very, very red pink or a very, very pink red. So here's one coat. This one covers really well on the first coat as well. It is going to need a second because I can still see some streaks, but all of the darker creams have covered really well. This also has the same fantastic formula that the last 2 did, like buttery smooth. So here's 2 coats. This one covers completely in 2. This is another one that I feel like dries a little bit darker than it applies. So there is 2 coats of She's a Bad Mufuletta. The next polish is called Spare Me a French Quarter, and this is a kind of medium berry color. Here is the Berry Thought of You from the Brights collection last year. It was last year now, it's 2016. And this is just a little bit lighter. So here's one coat. This one is nearly opaque in one coat. I can just see a little bit of my nail line if I look very closely, but I do want to see if it darkens a little bit, so I'm going to do 2. Same formula as the last few creams have had, buttery smooth. So here is 2 coats. This one does get a little bit darker on the second coat. So there is 2 coats of Spare Me a French Quarter. And the last polish is called I Manicure For Beads, and this is a slightly reddish purple. So here's one coat. And again, this covers really well on the first coat. I'm going to do 2 to see how it changes the color. Buttery smooth formula on this one as well. So here's 2 coats. And this one also deepens up a good amount on the second coat. This dries super shiny as well. And the difference between 1 and 2 coats color-wise is, like the last one, more apparent on camera. So there is 2 coats of I Manicure For Beads. So my favorite is Got Myself in a Jambalaya. It actually reminds me a lot of Virgo Varnished Creamed Cranberries, but you can't get anymore. So this might be a good alternative if you really liked that one. I feel like this is a little bit still more coral, but it is very close. So that one is my favorite. So that is the OPI New Orleans collection for spring/summer 2016. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, I'll link that website down below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.